JP Bangs.
We live?
A lot of these haters, man, they envy me. They probably mad cause a nigga won MVP. Stop fucking with a lot, they turn into some enemies. I ask myself all the time, why they envy me? These niggas be jealous and I don't know why. If you say he never hated, then that nigga tell him lies. I try to help niggas out, but these niggas switch. These niggas act hard, but these niggas really feel it, bitch. They say they toting heat in that pistol packet. Man, put the gun down, throw them hands, niggas show some action. Live to see another day, you ain't gotta kill. Don't think just cause you killed that makes you real. Now you're hiding and seeking, that part on the run. Should've just threw the hands and put down the gun. But most of y'all niggas scared to get your ass beat. That's why niggas riding around out here toting heat. I give you a fair fade, we can get it in. I can never lose, all I do is win. Y'all shoot before y'all fight, are you kidding me? We can get the heads, cause y'all niggas ain't killing me. A lot of
y'all ain't killing me.
They probably mad cause a nigga won MVP. Stop fucking with a lot, they turn into some enemies. I ask myself all the time.
He said put them guns down, y'all ain't killing me. Hey, that was LBZ. Let's go. That was great, that was hot. Welcome to the Free Think Zone. Yes, it's another fabulous Friday in the Free Think Zone. I'm your host, Shay J, on the Brother Jeff Network. Super excited that you guys met us here on today. But do me a favor, share this out on your network right now. Start a watch party, include someone else, drop it in their DM, because you know this is conversation for the community. I'm so glad to have you guys here, but I have an extremely special guest. His son's music actually just started the song off, the whole show off. Little Lumumba. So this is going to be a great show.
He'll be the man.
This is going to be it. Now, those of you that are just now tuning in and you're saying, who is Shay J sitting with today? He's one of the first black African-American fighters from the hood right here in Denver. We have all cheered from him from Park Hill, Eastside, Montbello, Aurora. We were all rooting as he has knocked out lots of people with his heavy hands. This man has been the martial arts artist and recently competed in the middleweight. He is the one and only Mr. Heavy Hands himself, Lumumba Sayers. What up? What up, what up, what up? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to have you here. Just in the sense of, we grew up in Denver, Colorado, and one of the greatest things is to see somebody from your hometown win. And just to see you on Elements doing your thing. And, you know, you've done this thing nationally and won nationally, but then you came back and won locally and community. And that means so much. And these are the stories that I think really give us hope. And these are the stories that I hope you guys tune into and understand some of the greats that we have right here in our own city. And while we celebrate people nationally, we need to understand what we have right here locally that is actually changing the narrative. Lumumba, I'm honored to have you here. I think there's so much to dig into. First, I got to hit him with the trigger alert, though, because we might trigger a couple people. This is a show that triggers. If you... Wait! Why did I can't find it!
This is a show that triggers people.
This is a show that triggers people. If you are not... Brother Jeff, don't do that! This is how you know I've been triggered too much lately. I've been really triggered, so I haven't been giving the trigger alert out.
I'm going to walk you through it.
Walk me through the trigger alert one more time.
This is a show.
This is a show.
That triggers people.
Because you've been to the Free Think Zone.
If you're not willing
to be exposed to other points of views, tune out now and don't read the comments. You have been warned. Boom, boom, boom. I've been triggered too much lately. I've not even been doing the trigger alert. That's how triggered I've been. So I know that this conversation must have a lot of triggers in it because I couldn't even get the trigger alert out. But first, shout out to my girl, Chubby Curls, educating the natural hair one scalp at a time. If you got those skinny curls, make them chubby. If you got that dry hair, juice it up. Get your Chubby Curls, chubbycurls.com. Let's get into it, Lumumba. First and foremost, we just have to acknowledge there's a lot going on out here in the atmosphere. And there's so many layers of that. As you were walking in, another sister was walking out who just, lost her son. And so when we were saying it just hasn't stopped. In the midst of this, I know we had a community meeting that took place, and we'll dig into that a little bit later. There's just so many things happening right here in our own community. And I wanted to tap in with you on all those things. But first, just laying the foundation of who you are and what you've accomplished. So just tell me a little bit about what it was to grow up in an era where we use a lot of things like conflict and controversy to get through, some of our pains and struggles. How was it growing up in the East Side, and how did that just switch your mindset or change who you were, or just, round you in who you are?
Well, just a little bit of history about me. My dad's name is Alfred Sayers. He is actually one of the founders of a group called Yamoja, who started the Martin Luther King marches here in Colorado. So I was raised by my mom and my dad in doing things in the community. My dad actually helped start the Denver Housing Authority here as well, and he just was always in the community doing the things that I have now started to do, because if you raise a child up in the ways that you want them to go, when they get older, they will not depart.
That's real.
So my dad raised me up in the community and with the big family and with my brothers and sisters, but to grow up on the East Side, you had to be tough.
Yeah.
You had to be able to, fight your way through some things. If you had a disagreement, you had to be able to fight. And the next day we'd be out playing football or hanging out, back in school together, all that stuff. It wasn't about killing each other. And I remember around middle school is when we started to get into a lot of murders and stuff like that during the summer of violence and stuff like that. We had a lot of things that was taken away from us, like celebrities and the YMCAs, and it started costing to go to the rec centers and stuff like that. So when they started taking activities away from us, what did? We migrated to each other and started hanging out, and whoever you got along with the best, that's who you hang out with, and that's who your clique or your gang became.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So everybody didn't have the same guidance that I had.
Absolutely.
A lot of people had fathers that was in jail, that was being taken away from the family, and the mom had to raise them. So they were at home by themselves.
Right.
And grandma and grandpa was trying to do the best they can, but they were older.
Yeah.
So, we had to go out and we had to figure things out on our own. You know what I'm saying? And man, I remember when it hit nighttime, if them lights came on and I wasn't at home, my mom and dad was tripping. So I had to be home.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of positive influence in my life, but that still didn't stop the fact that I had a lot of cousins, a lot of friends that I grew up with that was getting killed and all that stuff, and that I wasn't out here fighting and wilding out a little bit too. I think I was blessed to not have to go through a lot of the stuff that everybody else did, but I still had my struggles and my trials and tribulations.
Absolutely.
And I am from the hood. You know what I mean?
Like, and that from itself means something. Yeah, being in a place where violence is recognized as a way of communication. So many times that's the norm. It takes something different to really say, okay, I'm gonna try a little bit of conflict resolution. I'm gonna try something different. When I look at that makings of you being from the hood, going out, making it as a fighter, one of my favorite quotes in the fighting realm is that the best fighter is never angry. There's a level of discipline you have to bring, to the field of fighting. Talk about how important that level of discipline is and what that looks like when we talk about the way we're molding our children right now.
Well, to have a little anger when you fight is okay, because that gets you into it. If you keep that same anger throughout the fight, you're going to get smacked.
That part.
But it's a lot of people that just love to fight, and I actually was one of those people who just love to fight. So if you hit me a good one, I'd have to take that, suck up the anger so I wasn't frustrated and start making mistakes. And then I'd punish you in that cage or in that ring. But you have to be able to have the discipline to get hit and still stay focused on the goal at hand, which is winning the fight. Whoever got the best skills or the next moves, everybody think that fighting is easy. If fighting was easy, everybody would do it.
That's real.
So fighting, it takes a lot of hard work, dedication, but I took that exact same hard work and dedication and applied that to my everyday life. Hence the reason why I'm successful with the businesses that I run.
Absolutely. When you start talking about that, I think a lot of people are saying, okay, fighting. And I think this is such an important conversation right now because we're seeing the rise of gun violence. Not that it's not always been there, but right now we're losing our youth every single day. I remember back in 2017 when I came back, Boss Gotti, a very well-known rapper out here in Denver, Colorado, he was murdered. That right there, they were saying 2017 was tied as one of the deadliest years between 2016 and 2017 in December. We had 114 murders in Denver, 52 in Aurora. Right then, I remember during that time, you started a Catch a Fade movement. And I remember that caught me by storm. I was just coming back to Colorado, and I remember hearing all about this Catch a Fade, and I was like, wait, what is this about? And I didn't realize how significant it was in an era where everybody was dying. Tell me a little bit about what Catch a Fade meant and what that all was about and why it's so important to even reinstill that right in this moment.
Well, now this is a trigger alert.
Ooh, trigger.
It's a trigger alert. So the Catch a Fade movement, that was amazing, and the message was great. But if the person who started Catch a Fade don't stand on what they believe in, and what they talking about, then that movement don't work. If you speak on something, if you start a movement, you have to stand on and believe in what you're talking about.
That's good.
You can't in one breath say, "Hey, let's push this Catch a Fade," and then in the next breath, "Oh, I'm gonna do something to you." You
try and catch your body.
Yeah, you
That's
gotta
a whole different game, right?
You gotta stand on what you believe in. You know what I'm saying? You gotta literally stand on what you believe in. And that was a great movement. It was cool. But this new movement, gloves up, guns down, get your heads up in the hood, that's a movement that I stand behind 100%.
Tell me what that movement's about.
That movement was brought to me by the youth. Nehemiah, Nemo, Lumumba Sayers, Hawaii Sayers, Abdullah Kedar, and the Heaven Domina. They all got together and they started this movement.
Okay.
And the first one was in the park with Nemo threw the first one in the park just trying to do something about the violence that was going on. But he had reached out to Lil Lumumba and Hawaii and everybody else. So everybody came out to support that movement. The police actually showed up to shut that movement down. But I had got there right before they did and told them, hey, let's bring this to the gym so it's safe.
Yeah.
It can be monitored, and we can make sure that nobody gets hurt and no other violence erupts once they put on the gloves. So the police came through, broke it up. We moved it to the gym, and it became very successful to where you can go to the Heavy Hands, Heavy Heart Center on any given Sunday and go in there, and it's about 100 to 120 youth inside that place. You know what I mean? And they was just, everybody who had a problem didn't put on the boxing gloves. It was people who actually wanted to put on the boxing gloves and box with each other to do that. So we had them sign waivers. We had mouthpiece, all that stuff. And through that, we were able to contact the people who had the problems and just have a conversation and clear up misunderstandings that they were having amongst each other.
Absolutely.
So it wasn't all about, this movement isn't all about fighting.
Right.
It's about coming to an understanding of what kind of problems that you guys have and being able to squash it and be able to communicate, because a lot of these problems out in the street that these young people have are because of misunderstandings.
Absolutely.
So if we can clear up the misunderstanding and get them to understand, like, hey, look, you guys all need to live. We love you. I want to help you survive. I want to help you make some money. I want to be in your corner. I got your back. You know what I mean? But there's a different way other than killing each other, because it's a lose-lose situation. You go to jail, this person's dead, your family loses you, and that family loses the person that got murdered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in some instances, I lost on both sides, because I lost the person who did it and I lost the person who died. So that move.
Real quick, I want you to underscore that point, Lumumba, because you said I lost the one that did it and the one that died. Can you talk about what we've been sharing in terms of how closely related our community is?
Absolutely.
And a lot of this is family, and some folks know that they're family members, and a lot of folks find out they're family members at a funeral.
Yeah.
Period.
So I got one of the biggest families here in Colorado. The Mosleys, the Mayfields are two of the biggest families here in Colorado. And we are all connected. We got Marshbanks, Thurmans, Buskies, Butlers. I mean, it just goes on. Like, man, we have the Abrams. We have so many family members here that I know almost all my cousins. And my cousins know who I am because I go around to my family. But a lot of family members don't go around each other.
Right.
So I got cousins that's OGs from Crenshaw Mafia. I got cousins that's OGs from Rolling 30 Crip. I got cousins who started Deuce 9. I got cousins who started Mafioso. I got cousins OGs from 187 fam, 871 fam. I got cousins from Homicide. You know what I mean? I got family members from all these different gangs. The Trays, Trey Deuces, OGs. You know what I'm saying? So I got a big family here. And sometimes the only way that they find out that their family is at a funeral or if I introduced them and say, hey, this is your cousin. They're like, oh, man, I never knew that. So,
and I think that's a big thing to highlight right here in Colorado, because I think, and Brother Jeff and I always talk about this, no one wins in these circumstances, in these situations. It's a lose-lose, because we're where other cities maybe 60 degrees of separation, like you're saying, we're like 1 degree of separation every time. When you're looking at these youth and you're saying you need a positive role model in your life, you need somebody to help navigate that, and people are saying, how do we fill those positions and what does that look like? What is your word of advice for all these, new leaders that are coming up and people that are trying to fill these positions but may not even know how to facilitate?
So my thing would be for the new leaders is this. If you see a need, fill a need. Help by helping. If you see some kids that are out here hanging out and not really doing nothing, go talk to them. These kids are approachable and they want somebody to come talk to them. But the reason why they're hanging by themselves and they trying to figure out things on their own because they felt like we left them behind. You know what I mean? We felt like we got left behind and we had to figure it out. But now that we figured it out, we got to go back and guide these kids in the right direction. Not put the wrong thing in their head, lead them down a path to destruction. We got to breathe life into our youth. We got to breathe love into our youth. And the way that we do that is by going to love these kids.
Yeah.
By going out here, it doesn't cost a dime, a penny to go talk to these youth and tell them that you love them. It don't cost nothing to go hug a youth. It don't cost no money at all to go out here and say, hey, man, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Or just sit down and talk to them and listen to what they got to say. Some of these kids explode because they ain't got nobody to talk to. So as a leader, be able to go out here and talk to these kids. Be able to talk to these young adults. And stop calling them little niggas. You know what I mean? Because they are little man. Because they want to be looked at as a young adult. They want to be looked at as somebody that's important. And if you treat them important, then they'll start to act important. And then that changes their behavior, the way they carry themselves, and the way they look at things. But if you go, oh, y'all need to do this, you need to do that. Nah, man, let me show you something. I tell everybody that come jump on my moving truck or come to the gym. Don't do as I say. Come walk with me and see how I'm living.
Absolutely.
Follow after me. You know what I mean? The best example is to show somebody how you living.
That's real.
So
that's so real.
Lumumba, talk about, when you were growing up, there were a lot of things you had to avoid. Like, I know the stories of folks trying to get your shoes, having to come back, going across neighborhoods and all that, and you were able to navigate that. We know some young people that are also having to navigate that as well. They are surrounded by a lot of confusion, a lot of misguidance, and every day is a struggle for them. How do you deal with that individual, or those who are saying, it's all around me? It's all in my household. It's all,
Absolutely.
I can go to heavy hands, heavy hearts, but when I go home, you think these streets is rough. Wait till you come in my house.
Absolutely.
How do you deal with those situations?
So, actually, I'm not gonna say no names, but I'm dealing with a situation right now with a young lady who, man, the mom is doing everything she can to try to help her. The young lady's just like kind of rebellious, but she looks to me for guidance. You know what I mean? And when I get on her case and I got my little paddle I use at the gym and all that stuff, they smile and laugh and I be on them like, hey, and they love it. So you just got to give them tough love, but let them know that you love them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Be able to, hey, get this right. Come on now. You know, you be tough and be like, come on, man. You know, I'm just trying to get you to do this right. Come on, I believe in you. You know you can do better than this. Regardless of what's going on around you, you know you can do better than this. Come on. You my champ. You got to give them words of affirmation to be able to build them up.
Absolutely.
If you start building them up while they're with you, when they start telling you what they love about themselves. One of the things I do at the community center is I tell the kids to introduce themselves. Give me their first and last name and tell me 5 things that they love about themselves. And I teach them
how hard that is for some kids.
I teach them. I don't let them go by, too. If they don't know anything, I make them stick to it until they figure something out. But I teach them that if they love themselves, it doesn't matter what anybody else says about them.
Yeah.
If somebody else is trying to tear them down, as long as you know exactly what you love about yourself, then nobody else can tell you who you are. And I teach them about integrity, which is doing the right thing when no one's looking.
Yeah.
And to do it now because there's no opportunity wasted to do the right thing when no one's looking. I teach them that they're sanctified and to have respect and to work as a team because together everyone accomplishes more. So I teach these kids all this stuff. Regardless of what situation they come into, regardless of how their home is, if I continuously over and over and over give these kids words of affirmation and allow them to speak that into existence in their own life and let them figure out who they are, then that's how you change the person right then and there. And when they get home, they'll still remember that positive things when negative stuff is coming at them.
All right, you all. It is 2:29, and here comes the question. Do you know where your children are right now? Do you know where your children are? Do you know who they're with? And do you know what they're doing?
Yes.
You have to answer those questions. And if you're having difficulty answering those questions, get in touch with Lumumba, Heavy Hands, Heavy Hearts, or just tap in because there are plenty of resources available. We're not leaving anybody behind. It is 2:29. Do you know where your children are? And it's Friday, so you know we're doing our Friday family dinner. That means we're asking all the families out there, we're physical distancing. Get around the dinner table, have conversations with your young people, see what's on their hearts and what's on their mind and how they're navigating these very difficult waters, and just sit down and know who's in your household. And if you don't have a place to go, come to Brother Jeff's Cultural Center or go to Heavy Hands, Heavy Hearts, and we will have food, we will have family, we will have a place where you can just be you. Absolutely. And it's Friday.
It's Friday.
Tonight we're going to have none other than Chef Buddha. He's going to be he's the cook tonight.
He's bringing some barbecue.
He's doing the barbecue. He's doing everything, and then we're also going to have DJ Fedora.
That Fedora's my guy.
And so we're going to be here, and again, help by helping. That has been the theme. I'm going to turn it back over to you, Shay J. But I don't want people to go away without realizing the magnitude of the man that is sitting next to you. He is a national, international MMA champion. He is from our community, and when I say that, he is tough as nails, and even tougher when it comes to protecting our community and standing up for these young people. He could have brought all the belts. He has them.
He has them all.
Might be getting back in the ring. You gonna get back in that ring, Lumumba?
Man, I think I'm gonna give it one more run against this cat. This one guy. He keeps heckling me, man.
So you have to just one more.
But I don't think they'll approve it. But if they do, I'm gonna smash him.
I like that.
Go ahead, Little Lumumba has something to say. We're going to set him up in just a second. But go ahead, Shay J. I'm going to set it up for Little Lumumba.
And so as we're talking about what it looks like for children to have resources, I think that's the biggest thing about what you've created. You've created an outlet. You've created a resource. You've created something different. When we had the community meeting that took place on this week, there was a lot of conversation, a lot of things that happened in that. And I want to give you this chance to really speak your truth on what it looks like when people are saying, there's been conversation back and forth about your response of like, hey, if you guys are in it for the money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. But at the same point, you know that you've put the resources out there. You've given kids, an opportunity to have something different. Do you want to just talk a little bit about what that conversation was and what your point was to that? For me, I know one thing that I initially had an issue with was the response back of, I have $100,000 to help. And if anybody knows anything, $100,000 is nothing. That's one person's salary. And that was an official, that was not an official, that was somebody in the audience, that was their response to what you were saying. And I was like, wait, what? Are we throwing out $100,000 when somebody just said they buried 5 kids in 1 week? Is that a number we're throwing out like it's sufficient? Can you talk a little bit about where your heart was in that space and what you were really trying to get across to our community?
So the night of the community meeting, when I initially got the phone call about the meeting, it was about an action step.
Right.
So the meeting was to get together. We were going to do a march from Brother Jeff's Cultural Center all the way to Park Hill Golf Course, and then there was going to be another section that was supposed to meet from Central Park and meet at Park Hill Golf Course. Mm-hmm. So when we got there, the meeting took a turn, And I believe that there's a time and place for everything. If I'm coming to a meeting for some action steps, I don't think at this point in time it's time to address everything else, or it's time for everybody to advertise their business at that point in time.
Absolutely.
We hear there's a time and place for everything. There's
Absolutely.
There's a time where you address these issues. Now everybody's saying, I keep saying, forget the money, don't get the money. If you go back and watch the video, I said, get the money. Fine,
Exactly.
Get the money. But I didn't come here to talk about no money. And everybody, that's the first conversation, is the money. And I believe like this, like in the Bible, when David was about his father's business, doing his shepherd work, his blessing came to him because they knew exactly where he was at. Anything that I've ever done, it's come to me.
Yeah.
Because I was out here doing what I was supposed to, what God assigned me to. So I'm not telling anybody, don't go after no money. Don't go get the money. I'm not saying that. Get the money. If you can get the money, get the money. Yeah, we need money. What I'm saying is, when you get that money, really do something with that money.
Yeah.
Go help these kids.
Yeah.
Really get out here and go get these kids and bring them in.
Absolutely.
I don't want to hear about a conversation at a meeting where we supposed to be talking about how we supposed to save our community.
Right.
My little cousin just got killed for getting off the bus, going home going to his auntie's house to get closer to his job.
Yeah.
For no reason. My cousin Tavion Washington, he was schizophrenic, paranoid schizophrenic, but he still was mentally stable. He didn't bother nobody, and somebody killed him. And you want to have a conversation about some money at this meeting where we're supposed to be talking about how we can get together and show the community that we are doing good? I don't have a problem with them talking about money. Get your money. That's cool. But when we talking about some action steps, and Terrence Roberts always has a lot of action steps. When he says something, he puts it in the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When I say something, I put it in the work. When Brother Jeff says something, he puts it in the work.
Yeah.
When Gerald Wright says something, they put it in the work. When Shalonda Palmer has something, or
Shout out
Haggerty,
Star Girls.
when Shalonda says something, she puts it in the work.
Yeah.
What
I
I'm
think
saying,
that's important. That's an important part of the conversation.
what I'm saying is, if you can get some money, get some money. I'm not telling you not to ask for no money.
Yeah.
Let's get that out of it, because everybody needs money to function. Yeah. What I'm saying is that should not be the main topic off top. We should be talking about how we can come together as a community, work things out, put the differences aside, and save some of these lives. Even if we save 20 lives, we got to do it together. But if everybody's worried about this money all the time and not doing the work, if we get together and we show the results of what we're doing, the money will be there. We'll be able to articulate that stuff on paperwork through the results of the people.
I appreciate you clearing that up, and I think that's the important part about having a place that we can have these community conversations. So many times people get caught in emotions and things, and we're not. able to clearly articulate how we feel. This is why we're powered by the people. Go to brotherjeff.com right now. Make any amount of donation to keep us powered by the people, because these are the conversations that as a community we can heal from, we can come together, and we can be better next time. Like you said, we are in a place now where it's a state of emergency. This is an emergency right now. We have to save our baby's life. So how can we all get on one accord to make sure that the egos are put aside, the titles are put aside to save our babies' lives? It has to be a collaborative spirit to really bring that healing around. I know we have your son in the building. I think it's important that we let the youth have a voice as well. Introduce yourself to the audience.
My name is Lumumba Sayers Jr. I am one of the founders of the Gloves Up, Guns Down, Get Your Heads Up in the Hood event that we have every Sunday. And yeah, that's just me.
Thank you for being here. Tell me, what do you think it is? What do our youth need right now? What is it that you think they need to be okay, to get through this?
Something that I think the youth need is just somebody to love on them and be there for them. Like, I have a couple of friends. I have associates that I hang out with. Like, some of my friends, they're gang affiliated, and like, they tell me all the time when they hang out with me, hey, bro, I like hanging out with you. I don't like hanging out with these dudes. I want to do this. I want to be positive. I want a job. So most of these kids out here, or these young adults, I should say, are looking for jobs and just looking for ways to live life instead of, because they turn to different ways. They turn to bad ways to go and look for some money or to make them feel better, because they don't have that father figure in their life to guide them. Like, a lot of my friends, they call my dad Pops and stuff like that, because, he be on their helmet just like he is on me. So, like, my dad is a very good example as somebody that can go up to a kid and talk to him, and they have respect for him, and they're not, scared to talk to him.
That's huge. I think you hit on something that I think sometimes we fail to realize how important it is that our youth have economic resources, that they have a way to get money. And that's the thing, is no kid wants to be broke, and then you tell them, or if they're making money doing something they shouldn't be doing, and then you tell them, hey, get out of that, but don't provide them with jobs. Again, how important is it for them to have resources and places to go to, like Heavy Hand, Heavy Heart? How important is that in order to stay active?
It's very important, but they have to also help and put action to it. Like, actually help them, not tell them what to do, but show them the process of how to do the things, like how to sign a job application, or how to just sign up for different things that they want to do. Like, we at the Heavy Hands Heavy Hearts, we started a business entrepreneurship program. We're showing people how to start their own businesses. Like, we give them the steps on how to start it, and we show them, and then after that we let them go and try, and then they come back to us too also for help when they're like stuck with something. So that's something that we also do, and I feel like that's something that needs to be done, is somebody helping them and guiding them on how to do things, instead of always on their helmet like, you need to do this and you need to do that. Because most kids, young teenagers, young adults, they don't always want to hear that. They feel like it's just rah rah rah, you're talking in my ear. Like, but if you come to them and you're talking to them like, hey, check this out, I got this for you, and I can show you this, this, and this, let me show you this, and actually show them instead of just talking, then everything will be different. Like, everybody just needs help.
I see the work you've done with this young man, his mindset, the development. I see the work, and this is what we need. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to talk to that young man, that young woman that's at home, that doesn't have the guidance that you have, that hasn't developed their mindset where you're at, that's lost, that is trying to figure out how to maneuver through life, that is maybe even lost hope at this point. Just talk to them at home and give them a piece of encouragement of how they can move forward.
All I want to say is just, keep your head up. That's what get your head up mean in the hood. Just keep your head up, stay focused on God. If you always put God first in every situation, and don't worry about it, everything will be all right. Like, for example, one time, I was just struggling just at the beginning of this month. I was struggling about paying my rent, and I let go and I let God. Ooh. And I had my rent money like the very next day.
Come on now.
And
I can't shout in my seat.
Where you work at?
I work at Sayers Citywide Movers.
Okay.
So that's also we also are hiring if anybody's looking for a job.
Yes,
we also help kids in the community that need jobs. You know, we give them an opportunity to come hop on the truck and make some money. So that's another thing. If you guys need jobs, come out and, you know, come inbox me, inbox my dad. You know, that's what we're doing.
This is what it's about. This is what community looks like. You're impressing me in so many ways. Tell them how they can get a hold of you. You have music. You have jobs going. Tell me about this music a little bit. Yeah, because first, yeah, they're real. Yeah, I was nervous. I was like, you know what? Y'all not gonna I like to hear songs before we play them. Like, I like to pre-hear them, make sure. And I was real nervous. And then I started hearing the message that was inside of that. Talk a little bit about that inspiration and where that comes from for you.
So my music, like, honestly, when I write my music, it's how I'm feeling. Yeah. And like when I wrote that song, it was around the time when a lot of the killings were happening. And so, like, I named that song Envy Me. And it's just like about like people not wanting to fight and people wanting to pick up guns instead of, you know, fighting and stuff. So like my influence with music on that is like I want the people to like be influenced through my music and like listen, like just like with Nipsey Hussle, he has a message in his music, or right. Snoop Dogg, you know,
but it's something they can relate to.
Yeah, like that's, and like my dad, he told me, because I was just making a lot of music, just random music, and he told me you need to make something with a message in it. Mm-hmm. And so I made Envy Me, and like every time I play it for somebody, after the first verse, everybody's always like, "Oh yeah, like yeah, that's good. That's something," because that's something that they want to hear. They don't always want to hear "shoot 'em up, bang bang," right. You know. But also, I started a studio. I started a company called Sarah City White Entertainment, and it's also YTN Productions. That's our studio name, and we're starting a studio. We're like bringing people in, showing them how to do music, how to write music, because there's a lot of people that want to make music but don't know how to express it through their feelings. So we're teaching them how to express it through their feelings, and we're also like just showing them how to produce their own music. Like when I started, I remember I was paying like $80 a session to be in the studio, and then my cousin got his own studio, and he told me, "You ain't got to pay no more, just come on." So like that's a good thing, and I'm learning how to do the things on my own now too. So that's something that I do with music and want to teach.
And you're the epitome of each one teach one, and I truly believe if we all put out our hand and help somebody else, the community changes. We all change because of this. Fill in these blanks for me. Freedom is
great. It's to be free is good. Like, you know, don't nobody want to be, you know, locked up or restrained or anything like that. Nobody likes that. So to have your freedom, it's a great thing. So
I love that. That was right there, Little Lumumba Jr. This is the full circle of life. This is what happens when we start to instill things into our youth. Like you said, they do not go far from it. We might teeter-totter a little bit, but we never go too far from it. If you haven't went to brotherjeff.com, now's your chance to go ahead and donate, because we're powered by the people. And these are the things that they don't highlight on our mainstream media. And this is why we support independent black media, because we're able to have these conversations and make sure our community is uplifting one another. When we talk about resources and what this looks like in moving forward, what do you think our next 3 steps are in order to get ourselves out of this black on black violence, out of this, you know, our youth running away and going astray? What are these next 3 steps? What does this look like for us as a community? How can we be better as a community? What are our next 3 steps?
So first off, I'm gonna go back to that meeting. If you go back and listen to what I said, when one of the guys was asked the question about the money, which I didn't have a problem with, I said, hold on, give him the chance to finish speaking without interrupting him. You know, if you guys don't want to listen to what he has to say and don't give him the opportunity to speak and get his whole message out, and we just going to keep interrupting each other, and this ain't about the kids, then I don't want to be here.
Yeah. So
in reality, the guy who asked the question, I was actually just trying to reiterate, give him the chance to speak, because that's a lot of the problem. We all get together at these meetings and stuff, and we don't give each other the opportunity to express or finish asking whatever question without being ready to respond. So we had a meeting the day before to where we established, hey, look, when somebody's speaking, you sit back, you listen to what they say, and then you respond to their question accordingly without trying to get your point across bigger and better than everybody. So the next step would be for everybody who's in the community to be able to get together, set aside their differences, and be able to understand what everybody's saying.
Yeah.
Because we can't go out here and try to talk to these kids and we're not even together.
Absolutely.
We don't even agree on things. So we have to be on one accord to be able to go out here and present a great front and a great line for these kids to be able to see.
Yeah.
We can't go out here and say do this, this, and this, and then we got our own conflict going on. We got to have our own conflict resolved before we even go try to present anything to the community or to these kids.
Absolutely.
And if we don't, even if we disagree, we got to say, hey, look, let's come up with a plan to, all right, we're going to have a meeting about representing our programs this day. All right, this is going to be a meeting where we go ask these people where this money is, and this is going to be about that right there. We're going to deal with that issue. We're going to have a meeting about these action steps that we need to do, and this is what we're going to come out with when we're done. This is the ultimate goal. There's a time and place for everything. So I think the next step would be for all of us to get together, get on one page before we bring the community into this situation,
I like that.
before we go out here and talk to these kids, and be able to move as one unit.
It's 2:47. Do you know where your children are? Do you know who they're with? And do you know where they're at? It's 2:47. Everyone should be able to answer that question. It's Friday. Lumumba, a lot of that did take place in terms of there's a couple of things that happened even before that meeting. There were a group of organizations that were a part of that meeting, but then also were at a prior meeting with Doretta Tootle, with Charlotta Evans. There was Quincy Shannon. There were a lot of them. They just sat and they knew, because the history shows that once you get those big groups together, they're very difficult to manage oftentimes. So what they did is they started with an organizational meeting, and as a result, they have put together the safe zones again, which we know work because we've worked it before in the past.
Yeah.
So they've got safe zones. They're going to go out this Saturday. They're going to start in Montbello. So anybody that's looking to connect, there are a lot of ways to connect. And we can definitely make that happen. Tonight, the young people will be in Montbello at Montbello High School, 5:30 p.m. They're doing a Enough is Enough march. And so it will be very good if adults who are listening that are out in the public and are not, isolating themselves like me because of COVID-19 and all of that, go out and support the young people, protect the young people, but stay out of their way and let them, push forward with their vision. Sometimes what happens is adults wait for young people to move forward, and then they jump right in front of them, and they start trying to do everything. This one is a youth-led movement or effort in Montbello, led by 10 for 10. So if you get a chance, go there, Montbello 5:30. Protect the young people, surround yourself with them. And then also Saturday, don't forget the action that's taking place, and boots are on the ground. Lumumba, tell them how hot these streets are right now. I don't know if people really realize how hot these streets are and how it is important for you not to have your children in these parties and these parks and out here even going walking in this climate right now.
These parties keep getting shot up, period. I mean, a lot of these young adults have their own parties. Just make sure your kids don't go to these house parties. We are trying to make it a point to start having those parties to where they're secured, not at a house, but at a location to where everything can work out fine. If we help these kids throw a big party, like Nemo, he throws parties. So I'm trying to help him push his dream forward with giving the youth something to do. Lumumba and his team, I gave them a space to be able to have their gloves up, guns down event at, where it's safe. And then I make sure the security and everybody is in there good, and make sure the outside is secure and all that stuff. And the respect level that they have from me, it keeps everything calm. You know what I mean? So it's been pretty hot lately. A lot of these situations been tied together. You know what I mean? A lot of this stuff has been tied together with a lot of this stuff. So, man, just from me to the youth, man, I love y'all. I just want y'all to do better for yourself. Man, I'm tired of y'all dying, especially my little cousins, my family. Man, Even Elijah McClain, that's my little cousin. That's my cousin LaWayne Mosley's son. So, man, just for my cousins, the youth, man, I love y'all. And if y'all ever need me, I'm here. You know, I support my son with everything that he does as long as it's positive.
Yeah.
He's got the studio. I can put some money behind him. There's other kids that want their businesses and stuff. I can miss out on a couple of moves to help them.
That's
You
big.
know what I mean?
That's
So
big.
if somebody needs to help paying their rent and all that stuff, I can miss out on a couple of moves to help them because I'm going to get it back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you put something out into the community, right, it's going to come back to you.
Absolutely.
You know?
That was one of the main things, you know, it's crazy to hear this. I think that's the power of how you can see how mentorship starts to work and how alignment starts to happen. That was one of the first things I remember when I was coming back. And Brother Jeff, I was like, I don't know what station I want to go to. I don't know what I want to do. I had all these things. I was leaving New York. I didn't really know what to do. And he said, well, it doesn't matter. As long as you stay in your purpose, all your finances will work out.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, what? He's like, it doesn't. I'm like, but where am I going to work at? He's like, no, stay in your purpose and everything works out. And literally, I've never missed a beat and had a surplus and abundance and more. And I think that's so important. How important is it to have purpose and find purpose and for our youth to really connect with something?
Man, it's very important. You have to see, a lot of people waste a lot of time and money on people's potential instead of just asking that person, what is it that you want to do?
Yeah.
And I asked my son, I asked my daughter, I asked the kids around me, what is it that you want to do? When we're doing our businesses, the Heavy Minds Entrepreneur Program,
Yeah.
I asked the kids, what is it that you want to do? Think about a business that you're good at and that you love to do and that you can make money off of it. And then go after that and pursue that. You got to figure out what it is that you want to do with your life. And I'm going to support you with that. Now, I'm not going to say I'm going to finance your whole thing, but I'm going to put something towards what you got going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it comes, and it always does come out of my pocket too. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
like I said, get the money. You know what I mean? If you can get the money, get the money.
To the parents that are at home and they're saying, I have a comment right now from a parent saying, what step do I do next? I don't know what to do. They have a troubled youth. What do they do next? Where do they go?
Bring them to me, 2360 Dayton Street at the Heavy Hands, Heavy Heart Center. We'll figure it out. We'll help you figure it out.
Inbox Shay.
No, he said to go to him.
No, I'm just saying. We have so many resources.
Yeah.
If you touch base with Heavy Hands, Heavy Heart, and you say, well, that's not a fit for me,
Right.
he's going to push you right to Star Girls.
Yep,
well,
Star Girls Empowerment.
that's not a fit for me. He's going to push you right to Chic. That's not a fit for me. Going to push you right to Struggle of Love. That's not going to push you right to Jason McBride. It's going to push you. There are so many. Make a chess move. There's so many resources that we are now eliminating all of the reasons that people have for doing what they're doing. Like
We're even having family dinner here at 7.
Like
For people that
we don't have any place to eat. Come to Brother Jeff's Cultural Center tonight.
Yeah.
How much is it? It's free.
It's free.
It doesn't
No more
matter.
excuses. Let's come together
You know,
as a community.
we've said this, and Lumumba coined "help by helping." That's the movement.
Yeah.
Just everybody don't have to do the same thing, but everybody has to do something. So help by helping, and if you need something, the standing offer is still this. If you're saying that our community is destroyed and young people are going back and forth because they don't have any money or they don't have a job or you don't have a job, I guarantee you call us right now and we'll have you a job immediately. It may be that you don't want to work.
Yeah.
No, that's not our fault.
Yeah, because I always need help. Man,
I think that's a big thing. When you guys hear this, closed mouths don't get fed, but when we're giving you resources, I want you guys to really take part of this. And then I want you to share this out to somebody else that may need this resource, but didn't get to tap into the show, wasn't aware of all the things that are out there. And what I love about what Lumumba does is he's made this free to little of charge. He's putting our children in a place where they're learning discipline. But like we know, conflict is irrelevant. Conflict's going to happen, but it's how you deal with that conflict. And you're giving them an outlet and a place to deal with that. How early can they start training and boxing and doing these things?
Well, I started at 6 years old. I start the kids at 6 years old. A lot of people believe that between the ages of 10 to 12, that's when they start trying to figure out which way they're going to go and all this stuff. I believe at 7, 8, and 9,
especially in this day.
I believe 7, 8, and 9, these kids are already deciding who their homies are, who they going to hang out with, who they get along with. They starting to figure out how to protect themselves, which way to go, and all that stuff. So that's why I take them at 6, because I can start guiding that I can start teaching them the right things at 6 years old, and they catching on. That's when they trying to develop who they are and where their strength comes from and how they gonna handle problems and how to express themselves. So I start at 6 because at 5 they still just want to play. 6, then they starting to try to figure things out.
Here's a question for you, Lumumba. It's from, I believe, St. Louis, Missouri. Lynn Mills.
Shout out St. Louis.
What about the kids in the middle? They struggle more. Situation here in St. Louis, 2 kids at the same party. 1 privileged, loud, verbally abusing youth. 2, shoving him, would not back down. Youth 2 told him to back off. 1 shoves, 2 punches, and it goes on and on. Lumumba, before you get out of here, tell them the strategy that black men in support of education, we go all these schools, and you would show these young people how to deal with these situations in terms of getting bullied, in terms of avoiding conflict, and also tell them how much it cost you to be fighting in these streets before you went professional and began to make money fighting. 2 things. What's your advice for those who are trying to avoid getting bullied? And then for those who are tough in these streets, how much it's going to cost them as it relates to court fees, fines, and imprisonment when they could be taking that same toughness and being heavy hands Lumumba.
Right, exactly.
Heavy hands Sayers.
So I always say this, man, I'm 1,000-0 in the hood. But it cost me a lot of money. It cost me a lot of probation time. It cost me some trouble when I was younger. For me, I decided to take it a different route. My dad and my oldest brother, Alfred Sayers Jr., they always pushed me to fight in a ring. So I started doing that. My brothers Shabazz and Tambora, and Kinshasa, they always pushed me to fight in the ring. So instead of me getting in trouble, I decided to start boxing. And I went from boxing and I transferred over to mixed martial arts. But for me to fight right now, my deal is 15 to 32 years. You know what I mean? I'm considered a deadly weapon. I'm considered like all this crazy stuff because I know how to fight now. So it's going to cost me more to fight than it is to walk away. Now, when I was younger and I would fight, when I got finished fighting, my face is beat up, my knees is scratched up, I'm in trouble, I got to go to court, I got to give up all my money, I got to give up my free time, and now I got to do everything that somebody else tells me to do.
Right.
So my advice to the person who's getting bullied, that from the privileged person, get some help. Ask for some help. Hey, man, can y'all stop this dude? Or just leave the whole situation. Leave the party. Get out of there. You know what I mean? God always gives us an opportunity to get out of every situation. So if you can, get out of there. Leave it alone. You don't have to be afraid of them people. You know what I mean? And you're not a punk if you walk away. But you're going to be hurt, beat up. You're going to hurt somebody. You can risk going to jail, all that stuff. So we just need to teach them to be able to walk away. You know what I mean? Get out of there.
Keeley says, what about grandmother who can't get out? Are you able to get out to the homes of these kids? Like, do they have to come to you, or will you also go to them?
It just depends on the situation. That's where we need help at. Yeah. Like these community people that want to volunteer and stuff like that. If y'all can volunteer and go reach out to these families that need help and bring them kids into the community center, that's where we become as a unit. You know what I mean? Because I got things that I need to do and that I have to take care of, but we need volunteers to be able to go pick these kids up, be able to be out here in this community and bring them to the community center to get that help.
Absolutely. That's the point of having a center. I think you've done the part of creating a place where people can come, where these youth can come. And so now I really urge, and that's why I think it's important that we start really taking away all these different, the titles and the organizations, and really saying, how can we best suit the youth, and what does this youth need? And if it means sending them to you or someone else, let's make sure we're doing it in the best interest of the youth and helping out in that area. Because like you said, it takes all of us. It's not one, it's not two, it takes all of us.
Yeah, like Star Girls. Man, I love Star Girls.
Yeah.
I say I'm a Star guy. You know what I mean? But Stargirls, Shalonda actually goes and picks these kids up if they don't have a ride sometimes. She gives them ride homes. Like, she has been doing this stuff on her own as well, too, for years. You know what I mean? Our partnership blew up when we connected.
Yeah.
Together. We on one accord. Like, we do everything together, and everything always works out. Gerald Wright, man, that dude, man, he's amazing. When it's time to get the work done, Gerald is right there every time, out here helping with food. He's the one who came up with the idea to start the Thanksgiving thing that we do every year. You know, and he's when it's time to get the footwork done and the hard work done, I know Gerald plays his position by being there to get that stuff done. You know what I mean? Everybody has a part to play.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm not knocking nobody for what y'all do in the community. That's cool. Let's do it. But we got to do this together.
Absolutely.
You know, without all the big heads and about all that stuff, man, let's change these lives.
Yeah.
And once we start changing lives, they'll see what we're doing. And then the blessings will pour in, because this is what it's about. It's about the kids. It's about changing the community. It's about loving and giving back.
Little Lumumba, they want to know if they can reach you, and how do they get you? Do they get you on YouTube? How do we even tap in with the young folks? How do we get the music? Let me give you this
YouTube.
microphone, and Shay, ask them the question.
Yes. That's a good one, how you tap in. I love what you said there, Lumumba, as we're getting him the mic. Go ahead and grab that mic, love. We all play a part, and I think being comfortable and knowing that we don't all have to play the same part, but play your part, play your position, and then welcome somebody else on the team, because it's going to take a team to get us to that next place, and we've been dying at a rapid rate, and I don't want to see another black body buried. So together we have to change this narrative. How do we find your music, young man?
You can find my music on SoundCloud at Lumumba Sayers. That's LUMUMBA Sayers, SAYERS, and that's on SoundCloud. And yeah, that's about it.
Perfect. SoundCloud. He's out there, SoundCloud. Support our youth doing positive things and building other youth up. You're doing a beautiful thing in the city by not only doing your thing, but by helping others. Lumumba, what's your last word to our community? Last thing you want to say? Anything you want to tell them, where they need to meet you next, support, whatever that looks like?
Hey, man, come on down to 2360 Dayton Street. We there Monday through Friday. We got Stargirls there, so reach out to Shalonda Haggerty. Man, just bring the kids in. We here to help by helping. If you see a need, feel a need. We got this event coming up this Sunday. Gloves up, guns down, get your heads up in the hood. So look my son up, Lumumba Sayers Jr. on Facebook. You'll be able to see his post about his event. But hey, man, if y'all see these young adults, these young children, these kids, go up to them, talk to them, see what it is that they need, see how you can love on them, and let's make this community better, one hug at a time.
One hug at a time. I like that.
All right. You know, I just want to say that coming up is John Bowman. Shay J's gonna still be here, because he's isolating now, because he's about to be a grandpa.
The baby's coming.
And now he's got to stay out the public for like 14 or 21 days
no, it's real. They're not
before he
playing
can
about
hug the baby. So you two will be talking in a minute. You're gonna have a busy day.
Is it a busy day?
It's a
I feel
busy
like
day.
see, this is when he tries to give me the double header.
He's a
That
busy
means
day.
you guys have to stay tuned. But if you didn't go to Brother Jeff and donate, now's your chance. Make sure we keep programming like this coming to you. Go to brotherjeff.com right now. Any amount of donation keeps us going. Best nation, donation. Do your part, community.
And I can tell you this: if you have a young person that you're struggling with, you can't figure it out, come by Brother Jeff's Cultural Center tonight, 7 o'clock. Bring them, or bring yourself, or bring your questions, and we're going to have some food. There will not be admission. None of that. Just help by helping. If you believe that you need some assistance, you want to change and go in a different direction, we're right here tonight, 7 o'clock, or anytime. Just walk through the door. I guarantee you we can connect you to somebody or something. But tonight, Chef Buddha, he's going to be cooking. DJ Fedora, he's going to be playing. And we're going to set up the tables, and we just going to eat some food.
There we go. There's still hope in the community.
Hey, shout out to Brother Jeff, too, man. I don't think a lot of people see the things that Brother Jeff does behind the scenes. Like, he's been there to support me when people from the golf course came and told me that I couldn't be on the golf course. Him and the Ministry Alliance and Albert Brooks, everybody showed up on that. I've watched him mentor active gang members down here on the East Side, just giving them jobs and stuff like that. Like, people don't see that side of Brother Jeff. You guys just see this media side to him, but he does a lot. You know, he does a lot in the community that nobody sees. So
That's true,
I see that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's how we're able to do things like this, and that's what I love about Brother Jeff, is that he's never stopped pouring into our community, ever. From every generation, he's been an intergenerational community activist for all of us and a champion. And this is why we have to keep making sure that if you're doing your part, you're pouring into someone else. This is what it looks like, because it all comes full circle. And like you said, if we find our purpose, it all works out.
Yes, ma'am.
There we go. All of you in the community, we appreciate you joining us today. Remember, we have been fighting for a while. We've lost some along this fight, but it has been a fight worth fighting. You've survived all of this thus far, so don't give up yet. And even if you're not a fighter by nature, if you stand for something, fight for it. Believe in it. We have the power to change our community. We have the power to change the narrative. We're worth it. Let's not bury another black body. Together, we will change the narrative. It's your girl Shay J, the Free Think Zone. Peace and love.
If you go
down swinging.
Keep
You might
God
score a
first.
knockout. Rumble on, community. Rumble on. The #1 rumbler in the world, Lumumba Sayers. Heavy hands.
Hey, keep God first.
Keep God first.
Keep God first. Stay focused on Him. You can do anything.